Nico stepped out of the small shuttle and onto the wide platform of the Grand Art Gallery. The station hovered silently above the planet Solara, a shining dome in the darkness of space. Nico had traveled far from his home city, guided by curiosity and a love for history. The gallery was famous across the galaxy. People said it held the finest human and alien art, ancient sculptures, and holographic paintings that told stories of distant worlds. The building looked like a giant crystal from the outside, catching the starlight and reflecting it in hundreds of colors. Nico adjusted his backpack straps and took a deep breath. "This is it," he whispered. "All the stories, all the history, right here." As he entered the gallery, the doors slid open silently. Inside, the space was enormous. High ceilings arched over him, and walls glowed softly with murals. Sculptures floated in the air, held by invisible magnetic fields. Holographic images flickered across the walls, humans and aliens working together, building cities, exploring strange planets. Nico's eyes widened. He had studied pictures of this gallery, but nothing compared to standing here in real life. A woman approached. She had calm, watchful eyes and wore a neat white uniform. Her hair was tied back simply. "Welcome to the Grand Art Gallery," she said. "I am Myra, the curator. Are you here for research or just to see the exhibits?" "I want to see everything," Nico said. "I love history. My name is Nico." Myra smiled faintly. "You will find much to learn here. But be careful. Some things are not simple. The shadows, the light shadows, they appear sometimes. They are harmless, but not fully understood. Respect them, and they may guide you." "Shadows?" Nico asked, curious. "Yes," Myra said. "They are rare. Some say they are echoes of the past, showing how humans and aliens helped each other. Others say they are messages. They appear only to those with honest hearts." Nico felt a shiver of excitement. "I will be careful." Myra led him deeper into the gallery. The first halls were full of glowing murals. Nico saw paintings from Earth centuries ago, families, landscapes, explorers. Each painting seemed alive. He leaned closer to study the brush strokes and tiny details. "Many visitors miss these details," Myra said. "They look, but they do not see. The shadows show what you cannot see with your eyes. They move, they hide, but they are always here." "I want to see them," Nico said eagerly. Myra raised an eyebrow. "Patience. You may not see them today. The gallery reveals its secrets slowly." Nico nodded and wandered further. He paused before a mural showing humans teaching an alien civilization to farm. The colors were bright, and the figures seemed to move when he looked carefully. He traced the lines with his finger, careful not to touch the painting. He almost felt the soft breeze of the fields and the laughter of people working together. In a quiet corner, the lights dimmed strangely. A feeling ran through Nico, half fear, half curiosity. He thought he saw a shadow move across the wall. He blinked, and it was gone. "Do not follow it yet," Myra's voice said softly. "The shadows are delicate. Rushing may make them vanish forever." Nico smiled. "I will wait." The rest of the day passed quickly. Nico explored rooms filled with sculptures, holograms, and floating orbs showing events from human history. Each piece seemed to whisper stories. By evening, he felt both tired and alive, as if the gallery itself had shared its secrets. That night, Nico could not sleep. He kept seeing the murals in his mind and thinking about the shadow he had glimpsed. He remembered Myra's words and wondered what messages the shadows might hold. Finally, he made a decision. He would return to the gallery after hours, when the lights were low and the halls were empty. He wanted to see the shadows clearly and understand their secrets. Curiosity burned in his chest, stronger than sleep or fear. He knew the gallery was more than a building, it was a living story, waiting for someone to read it. And he wanted to be that someone. Before closing his eyes, he whispered, "Tomorrow I will see the shadows." Somewhere deep in the gallery, as if listening, a faint shimmer flickered across the walls, quiet and mysterious, waiting for the night to reveal its story. The night was quiet in the grand art gallery. The bright lights had dimmed, leaving only soft glows along the halls. Nico waited until the last shuttle left and the station was silent. His heart pounded with excitement as he opened the small service door Myra had shown him earlier. The corridor beyond was narrow and dimly lit, stretching into the gallery's oldest sections. Nico stepped carefully, his boots making soft echoes on the polished floor. The murals around him seemed different at night, the colors richer and the shapes more alive. He remembered Myra's words, "The shadows are delicate. They appear only to those with honest hearts." He wondered if tonight, the shadows would appear for him. As he turned a corner, a cold draft brushed against his neck. Nico froze. The hallway was empty, but something moved in the corner of his eye. A dark figure flickered across the wall, almost like smoke. He blinked, and it was gone. "Hello," he whispered softly. His voice seemed too loud in the quiet hall. Then, it appeared again, a faint, dark silhouette moving along the mural depicting humans and aliens building cities together. Nico stepped closer, careful not to make sudden movements. The shadow paused, as if aware of him. He noticed that wherever it moved, the walls seemed to shimmer with tiny glowing patterns, almost like stars. Nico crouched to get a better look. He pulled out his notebook and pencil, sketching the patterns. They were not random lines, they formed shapes that looked like maps or symbols. Nico's curiosity grew stronger. Could these shadows be trying to communicate? Suddenly, the shadow darted away, moving faster than anything human could do. Nico ran after it, following the glowing trails across a hallway lined with floating sculptures. The shadow moved with purpose, leading him deeper into the gallery than he had ever gone before. He stopped at a large mural of humans exploring strange planets. The shadow paused here, almost hovering above a figure holding a small alien child's hand. The glowing patterns on the wall pulsed softly, forming a shape that looked like a key. Nico's eyes widened. A key? A message? He traced the glowing lines with his finger, careful not to disturb them. Footsteps suddenly echoed from another hallway. Nico froze. A voice called softly, "Who's there?" It was Myra. She stepped into the hall, her calm expression serious. "Nico, you should not be here alone," she said. "The shadows do not always appear for fun. They are ancient and powerful in their way. Did you see one?" "Yes." Nico whispered. It moved and left patterns. "I think it was trying to show me something." Myra nodded. "Good. You have honesty in your heart, and that is why it appeared. Many try to chase the shadows for power or fame, and they vanish for them. But for you, they respond." Nico felt a mixture of pride and awe. "What do the patterns mean?" Myra smiled faintly. "No one knows completely. Some think they are maps, others think they are messages from the past. The shadows are reminders of human curiosity, courage, and kindness. They show what humans have done to help others, even across galaxies. Nico's mind raced. This is incredible. The shadows are alive somehow, but not like creatures. They are memories, or stories, moving, breathing stories. He looked back at the mural and noticed the shadow beginning to shimmer again. This time, it moved slowly along the edges of the painting, forming more glowing lines. Nico sketched quickly, trying to capture everything. As he did, he realized the shapes resembled corridors in the gallery itself, hidden paths behind the murals. Myra followed his gaze. The shadows sometimes guide people. They lead those who are ready to learn deeper truths. But you must be careful. The gallery is full of secrets. Some are old, and some are dangerous if approached with selfish intent. Nico nodded. I want to learn. I want to understand them. The shadow paused one last time above the mural, then slowly faded into a soft glow along the floor. Nico felt a quiet excitement. He had seen it, truly seen it. And he had learned that the gallery held more than art. It held wisdom. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. You have the heart to follow the shadows, Nico. But remember this, curiosity must always be paired with care. The gallery is alive in its own way. Respect it, and it may reveal more than you can imagine. Nico smiled, determination shining in his eyes. He had glimpsed the first secret of the gallery, and now he knew he would spend every moment exploring, learning, and understanding. The shadows had chosen him tonight, and he would honor that choice. As he left the hallway to return to his small room, Nico glanced back once more. In the faint light, the walls shimmered as if waving goodbye. He whispered softly, tomorrow. I will follow you further. Somewhere in the gallery, deep in the oldest halls, the shadows waited patiently, knowing that one of the gallery's visitors had begun a journey they had long prepared for. The next morning, sunlight filtered into the grand art gallery, but Nico barely noticed. His mind was filled with images from the shadows he had seen the night before. Every line, every glow, every movement seemed to whisper secrets he had only begun to understand. He hurried to find Myra, hoping she could help him make sense of the patterns. Myra. Nico called softly in the main hall. Can you help me? I think the shadows were showing me something, but I don't know what. Myra turned, her calm eyes observing him carefully. Sit with me, she said, leading him to a quiet corner near a holographic display of ancient Earth cities. Show me what you recorded. Nico opened his notebook and carefully traced the glowing lines he had sketched from the shadows. Myra leaned in, her expression thoughtful. These shapes, they are not random. They match certain hidden corridors in the gallery. Some are so old that even many staff members have forgotten them. The shadows are guiding you. Nico's eyes widened. Hidden corridors? You mean there are parts of the gallery that no one has seen? Yes, Myra said. The gallery was built with secret paths, some leading to old exhibits, some to archives. The shadows know these places. They show themselves to those who seek knowledge, not fame or power. Nico felt a thrill run through him. Can we follow them? Myra hesitated for a moment. We must be careful. Some paths are unstable, and the gallery has ancient defenses. But if the shadows are guiding you, I will trust them and you. Together, they moved to the first corridor the patterns had indicated. The walls were lined with murals depicting humans exploring unknown planets and helping alien civilizations. Each scene seemed to pulse softly with light as if alive. Nico noticed faint glimmers along the edges of the murals. The shadows had been here before him, leaving a trail to follow. He reached out to touch the wall lightly, and a section slid open, revealing a narrow hallway hidden behind the mural. Nico's heart raced. "It worked," he whispered. "The shadows led us here." Myra nodded. "They have chosen to reveal this to you. Many have passed through this gallery without ever seeing such paths." The hallway was dim, lit only by small glowing strips along the floor. Strange symbols were carved into the walls, symbols that looked like stars, hands, and simple shapes. Nico traced them with his fingers, feeling a connection to the artists and explorers who had created them centuries ago. As they walked deeper, they reached a small chamber filled with ancient holograms. Each projection depicted humans and aliens working together, sharing food, building homes, and teaching each other new skills. The scenes were not just art, they were lessons, reminders of cooperation, kindness, and courage. "The shadows are showing you history," Myra said softly. "Not just events, but the meaning behind them. Humanity has always had the power to help others, to build, to explore, and to create. The shadows preserve this." Nico watched the holograms in awe. Each one seemed to glow brighter when he focused on it. He realized that the shadows were like teachers, guiding those willing to learn. They were showing not just places but ideas. Nico felt a sense of responsibility settle in his chest. "If this is what humans have done, I want to honor it. I want to learn everything I can." Suddenly, a faint shadow moved across the wall, forming shapes that mirrored the symbols in his notebook. Nico followed it, carefully copying the patterns. The shadow paused near a small alcove, and Nico realized the shapes resembled a key like the key he had seen the night before. Myra noticed his excitement. "That key is symbolic," she said. "It is a reminder that knowledge and understanding are earned through effort and care. The shadows only guide those who respect the gallery's lessons." Nico nodded, his pencil moving quickly. Every line seemed important, every shape meaningful. The more he sketched, the more the shadows appeared, forming small figures and glowing maps that led deeper into the gallery's hidden archives. Hours passed as they followed the patterns, exploring rooms that seemed lost in time. Nico felt as if he was walking through the story of humanity itself, its victories, its kindness, and its courage. The gallery was alive in a way he had never imagined, and the shadows were its heartbeat. Finally, they reached a large chamber filled with murals that glowed faintly in the dim light. Nico stepped closer, tracing a pattern along the wall. The shadow moved across the mural once more, pausing over a scene of humans teaching aliens to build homes. The glowing patterns formed letters that spelled a simple message: help others. Curiosity and care guide the way. Nico's eyes filled with wonder. "It's a message from the past." Myra smiled. "Yes. And it is still true today. The gallery, the shadows, and the stories, they are all reminders of what humans can do when they act with courage and kindness." Nico felt a warmth in his chest. He had discovered the gallery's hidden paths, learned the meaning of the shadows, and begun to understand humanity's legacy. He looked at Myra. "I want to keep following them. I want to learn everything the shadows can teach me." Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then you are ready, Nico. The gallery has chosen you, and the shadows will guide your journey. But remember, always be careful and always act with respect. That is the true lesson of this place." Nico nodded, determination shining in his eyes. The shadows had shown him the way, and he would follow, eager to uncover every secret the gallery had kept hidden for centuries. The following day, Nico woke early, eager to return to the hidden corridors of the Grand Art Gallery. The shadows had revealed so much already, and he felt a sense of purpose growing inside him. Myra met him near the entrance to the secret hallway. "Are you ready?" she asked. Nico nodded. "I want to follow the shadows again. I want to learn more." Myra led him through the familiar murals, past the floating sculptures and glowing holograms. Everything seemed normal at first, but as they entered a narrower corridor, Nico noticed something different. The faint shimmer of shadows on the walls flickered and twisted strangely. "What is it?" he whispered. Myra frowned. "It is not like the usual patterns. The shadows can sense intentions. Someone else has entered the gallery with a purpose the shadows do not recognize." Before Nico could respond, a loud metallic clatter echoed from one of the side halls. A man appeared at the corridor's entrance, carrying strange equipment that glowed faintly. His eyes were sharp, and his expression was eager, almost greedy. "I see someone is already using the gallery tonight," Myra said quietly. "This is Dallin. He seeks the shadows for his own gain. He does not understand what they teach." Nico stepped forward. "Who is he?" Myra shook her head. "A rival explorer. He wants to steal the secrets of the shadows, not learn from them. We must be careful. The shadows will react if he tries to take anything." Dallin moved closer, pointing a small device at the walls. It hummed and glowed, scanning the murals and the hidden corridors. Nico's stomach tightened. He could feel the tension in the air, as if the gallery itself were holding its breath. Suddenly, the shadows began to respond. Dark, moving silhouettes stretched across the walls, shifting rapidly and forming shapes that were both beautiful and strange. The glowing patterns pulsed like warning signals. Nico watched in awe as the shadows created walls of light and dark, guiding him and Myra deeper into the corridor while blocking Dallin's path. What is happening?" Dallin shouted, waving his device. "Stop!" "I want to." The shadows surged forward, forming massive illusions that surrounded him. Images of humans and aliens helping each other, building, teaching, and sharing, flashed on the walls. Dallin's device beeped and sputtered, unable to capture the images. The shadows seemed to judge him, sensing the selfishness in his heart. Nico felt a mixture of fear and wonder. He had never seen the shadows react so strongly before. "They're protecting the gallery," he whispered to Myra. "They know he doesn't belong here." Myra nodded. "Yes. The shadows are guardians. They respond only to those who seek knowledge with respect. They will not allow greed to take what is sacred." Dallin tried to push forward, but the shadows shifted, creating illusions that made him stumble and turn in circles. Each time he reached for a mural or a device, the shadows moved again, guiding him away from the hidden paths. Nico realized that the shadows were intelligent, able to sense both the environment and the intentions of those within it. As the shadows blocked Dallin, Nico and Myra followed a glowing trail that led to a small chamber filled with ancient holograms. Here, the shadows were calmer, almost welcoming. Nico could see tiny glowing figures moving along the murals, depicting acts of courage, kindness, and teamwork. "They're showing us what humans have done," Nico said softly. "The shadows are stories, alive and moving." Myra smiled faintly. "Yes. And they are teaching a lesson. Dallin will see it too, if he is willing to learn. But only if he lets go of greed and chooses respect." Outside the chamber, Dallin's device suddenly shut down. He stumbled backward, overwhelmed by the illusions. His eyes widened as the shadows displayed a vision of humans sharing resources with alien civilizations, helping each other survive and thrive. For a moment, his expression softened, though quickly it hardened again. Nico felt a pang of hope. Perhaps the shadows could change even someone like Dallin, if he was willing to listen. Myra placed a hand on Nico's shoulder. The gallery is alive. The shadows are its guardians and teachers. They do not harm those who respect them, but they will defend themselves against those who seek selfish gain. Nico nodded, understanding more than ever that the shadows were not just mysterious patterns or tricks of light. They were alive in a way that went beyond human understanding. They were protectors, teachers, and witnesses to the legacy of humanity's courage and compassion. Together, Nico and Myra left the chamber, retracing their steps as the shadows returned to their usual gentle shimmer. Dallin's frustrated voice echoed behind them, but the illusions held him at bay. The gallery was safe, at least for now. As they emerged into the brighter halls, Nico took a deep breath. He felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. The shadows had chosen him, not Dallin, and he understood that his journey was only beginning. Myra looked at him and said softly, "Remember, Nico, the shadows guide those with respect and curiosity. The path ahead is full of lessons, but also challenges. You must be ready." Nico's eyes shone with determination. "I am ready," he said. "I will follow the shadows, no matter where they lead." Somewhere deeper in the gallery, the shadows settled back into their silent watch, waiting for the next step of Nico's journey, ready to guide, teach, and protect the legacy of humanity. The next morning, Nico returned to the Grand Art Gallery with a renewed sense of purpose. The encounter with Dallin had reminded him how precious the shadows were and how carefully he needed to follow them. Today, he wanted to understand the lessons hidden within the murals and holograms, the deeper meaning behind the moving shadows. Myra met him at the entrance. "Are you ready?" she asked, her calm eyes observing him closely. Nico nodded. "Yes. I want to see what the shadows are teaching." They walked through the familiar corridors, past glowing murals and floating sculptures. Nico noticed that the shadows were already moving along the walls, as if waiting for him. He paused before a mural showing humans and aliens building a large city together. The shadows glimmered softly around the figures, highlighting certain moments: someone helping another climb a tall wall, a child learning from an elder, hands passing tools and supplies. "The shadows are emphasizing these actions," Myra explained. "They want you to notice what humans did, not just what they built. Courage, kindness, and cooperation, these are the true lessons." Nico studied the highlighted figures carefully. He realized that each small action in the mural told a story of helping and learning. The shadows pulsed gently, as if approving his attention. He sketched the highlighted moments in his notebook, feeling a growing connection to the people in the scenes. As they continued, they entered a large hall filled with holographic projections of humans and aliens working together on distant planets. Some scenes showed humans teaching alien children to grow food. Others showed humans and aliens building shelters and sharing resources. Every projection seemed alive, and the shadows moved around them, drawing Nico's attention to acts of courage, cooperation, and selflessness. "These are not just stories," Nico said softly. "They are lessons. The shadows want me to learn from them." Myra smiled. "Exactly. The gallery preserves not only art, but wisdom. The shadows guide those who are willing to understand humanity's true strengths: curiosity, bravery, kindness, and the willingness to help others." Nico felt inspired. He realized that the gallery was not just a museum, it was a school. The shadows were teachers, the murals and holograms were lessons, and he was a student. Every small detail mattered: the way a hand reached out to help, the way a person shared a tool, the way people trusted each other across differences. As they walked further, Nico noticed a mural that depicted a dangerous journey across a stormy planet. A group of humans helped an alien family escape the rising flood waters. The shadows highlighted each person's courageous act. Nico could almost hear the rush of water and the cries of relief. "Look closely," Myra said. "Even in the face of danger, humans work together. Courage is not just fighting, it is helping, protecting, and staying calm to guide others." Nico nodded, sketching the scene quickly. "The shadows are showing me what bravery really means. It is not about being alone, it is about helping others." They paused before another hologram, this one showing humans and aliens communicating across different languages and cultures. The shadows highlighted the moments of understanding, patience, and teaching. Nico realized that curiosity was also a lesson. The willingness to learn and respect others' ways was as important as any act of bravery. Myra watched him quietly. The gallery teaches through the shadows. Each display shows virtues humans have used to create strong bonds. These lessons are timeless. They are the true treasures of humanity. Nico felt a sense of pride and responsibility. He had learned so much in such a short time, yet he knew there was more. The shadows were patient, waiting to reveal the next lesson, and he had to be ready to observe and understand every detail. Suddenly, a faint shadow flickered along the walls, forming patterns that mirrored a sequence of events in a mural. Nico traced the glowing lines carefully. They showed teamwork, the way each small act contributed to a larger purpose. He understood that the shadows were not just guiding him physically through the gallery, they were guiding his mind to see the deeper meaning behind every action. "The shadows are showing the big picture," Nico whispered. "Every small act of kindness or courage builds something greater." Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are beginning to understand. The gallery does not reward selfishness. It rewards those who learn from the past and carry it forward. Remember, Nico, these lessons are not just for the gallery, they are for life." Nico nodded, feeling determined. He wanted to carry these lessons, to share them, and to continue learning. The shadows had already shown him courage, kindness, and curiosity. He knew that the gallery held even deeper secrets, and he was ready to follow the shadows wherever they led. As they exited the hall, Nico glanced back at the glowing murals and shadows. They shimmered softly, like silent guides, waiting for the next lesson to be discovered. He whispered to himself, "I will not let these lessons be forgotten. I will learn everything I can." And somewhere in the hidden corners of the gallery, the shadows pulsed gently, approving his resolve, ready to reveal more secrets to the one who had truly begun to understand. The gallery was quiet as night fell over the station. Nico had spent the entire day studying the shadows and the murals, learning the lessons of courage, kindness, and teamwork. But he sensed something was different tonight. The shadows shimmered nervously along the walls, and the air felt charged. Myra appeared beside him. "Nico, I fear someone has returned," she said quietly. "Dallin is here. He will try again to steal the secrets of the shadows." Nico's heart pounded. He remembered the last encounter, how the shadows had protected the gallery. But tonight, he felt a stronger presence, as if the gallery itself was preparing for something bigger. Suddenly, the distant sound of footsteps echoed in the hall. Dallin appeared at the far end, carrying advanced scanning equipment that glowed faintly. His eyes gleamed with determination and impatience. "This time, I won't fail," Dallin called. "I will take what I want." The shadows reacted immediately. Dark figures spread across the walls, twisting and stretching, forming glowing patterns that blocked his path. Nico could see shapes of humans and aliens helping each other, protecting their homes, and teaching new skills. The images grew brighter and larger, forming a wall of light and history that seemed alive. "They're stronger tonight," Nico whispered to Myra. Myra nodded. "The gallery senses danger. The shadows will protect it fully now. We must follow carefully and not interfere unless necessary." Dallin tried to move forward, waving his device. Sparks flew, but the shadows surged, forming giant silhouettes that mirrored acts of bravery and cooperation. One figure showed a human lifting an alien child to safety, another showed hands joining to build a bridge across a canyon. Dallin's device flickered and shut down, unable to capture or harm the shadows. Nico felt a mix of fear and awe. The shadows were not just patterns, they were alive, defending their lessons and their history. They twisted and shifted, forming shapes that made Dallin stumble backward. "You cannot take what you do not understand," Nico shouted. Dallin glared at him, frustrated. "I only want to know the secrets. Why won't you stop interfering?" Myra stepped forward. "The shadows are not for taking. They teach. They protect. They reveal themselves only to those who seek knowledge with respect. Greed and selfishness will never succeed here." The shadows pulsed brighter, showing scenes of humans and aliens helping each other survive storms, rebuild destroyed cities, and share knowledge. Dallin's face changed, even if only for a moment, as he saw the acts of courage and kindness. Nico watched carefully. The shadows seemed to respond to intent. They protected the gallery and its lessons from anyone who tried to exploit them. For a moment, it seemed like the shadows were speaking directly to Dallin, showing him what humanity had achieved when people worked together. Dallin tried one last time to force his device forward. But the shadows formed a barrier that surrounded him completely, reflecting the stories of bravery, teamwork, and compassion. His device sparked and died, leaving him defenseless. Nico felt a calm strength. "You cannot harm the shadows. You must learn, not take." Dallin looked around, overwhelmed. The shadows showed him visions of humans sharing tools with aliens, saving each other from danger, and building communities together. Slowly, his expression softened, and he dropped his equipment. The shadows shifted, guiding Dallin toward the exit rather than punishing him. Myra nodded. The gallery has given him a choice. The shadows do not harm those willing to change. Nico realized something important. The shadows were not weapons, they were teachers. They revealed lessons, protected the gallery, and guided those who were ready to learn. Those who were greedy or selfish were simply blocked, never harmed, always given a chance to understand. As Dallin left quietly, humbled, the shadows returned to their gentle shimmer along the walls. Nico felt a deep sense of relief. The gallery was safe, and the lessons of humanity remained protected. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have seen the full strength of the shadows tonight. Remember what you have learned: courage, kindness, curiosity, and respect. These are the true treasures of the gallery." Nico nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "I understand. The shadows are alive, and they will guide me. I will follow their lessons carefully." Together, they walked through the quiet halls, past murals and holograms, the shadows shimmering softly around them. Nico felt the gallery's heartbeat, the rhythm of history, lessons, and courage. He knew that his journey was far from over. There were more secrets to uncover, more lessons to learn. Somewhere deep in the oldest corridors, the shadows pulsed softly, approving his resolve. Nico understood that he was no longer just a visitor, he was part of the gallery's story, chosen to learn, protect, and carry forward the legacy of humanity. And as he looked at the glowing murals, he whispered, "I am ready for the next lesson. I will follow the shadows wherever they lead." The next morning, the grand art gallery glowed softly under the light of distant stars. Nico stood near the entrance, looking out across the vast halls. After the confrontation with Dallin, he felt a deep sense of responsibility. The shadows had trusted him, and he now understood the true meaning of their lessons. Myra joined him quietly. "You have grown, Nico," she said. "You have seen the shadows' strength and the lessons they carry. But there is still work to be done." Nico turned to her, determination shining in his eyes. "I want to protect the gallery, learn its secrets, and make sure the lessons of the shadows are never forgotten." Myra smiled. "Then it is time for you to become more than a visitor. You will be my apprentice, learning to preserve the gallery and understand the shadows fully. The gallery has chosen you." Nico's heart leapt. He had dreamed of studying the gallery, but now he realized it was more than a dream, it was a responsibility. He nodded. "I will do my best." Their first task was to record the patterns the shadows left behind. Nico carefully sketched the glowing shapes, symbols, and paths that had guided him through the hidden corridors. Each line held meaning, showing acts of courage, kindness, and teamwork. He traced every curve, every shimmer, feeling the connection to the stories of humans and aliens who had lived centuries before. The shadows moved around him, their presence gentle but aware. Nico noticed that they seemed to respond to his care and attention, pulsing softly when he traced the patterns accurately. He understood that the gallery was alive in its own way, the shadows were its heartbeat, and he was now part of its rhythm. Myra led him to a large chamber filled with murals depicting humans helping alien civilizations across the galaxy. The shadows formed soft outlines around the figures, highlighting the small but meaningful acts of courage and kindness. Nico studied them closely. Every mural told a story, and every story contained a lesson. "These murals show the impact of small actions," Myra explained. "Every choice, every act of care or bravery, contributes to a larger legacy. The shadows remind us of this. They show how humanity's strength lies not in power, but in compassion, curiosity, and cooperation." Nico felt inspired. He realized that the gallery was more than a collection of art, it was a living record of humanity's best qualities. It preserved lessons for generations, teaching people to act with courage, to help others, and to seek knowledge with respect. Hours passed as Nico worked, documenting the patterns and learning the meaning behind each one. He began to see connections he had missed before, the way teamwork in one mural mirrored patience in another, how courage and kindness intertwined in distant stories. The shadows guided him patiently, waiting for him to understand each lesson fully. Finally, Nico stepped back and looked at his notes. The patterns he had recorded formed a map of the gallery's history, its hidden corridors, and its teachings. He realized that by preserving these patterns, he was ensuring that the gallery's lessons would never be lost. Future visitors would learn what he had learned, and the shadow's wisdom would continue to guide humanity. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have done well, Nico. The gallery's legacy is safe because of your care and understanding. The shadows trust you, and the lessons will continue." Nico smiled, a quiet pride filling his chest. He knew that his journey was just beginning, but he also understood that the most important part was to continue learning and sharing what the gallery taught him. As he walked through the halls, the shadows shimmered softly, dancing across the murals and holograms. Nico followed their gentle guidance, reading the stories of bravery, kindness, and curiosity. He realized that the gallery was not just a place of history, it was a guide for life, teaching humans and aliens alike how to act with respect, courage, and care. Before leaving for the day, Nico paused at a mural of humans and aliens standing together under the stars. The shadows formed faint outlines of figures holding hands, helping each other, and smiling. Nico whispered softly, "I will carry these lessons with me. I will help others, just like the shadows have shown me." Myra nodded beside him. And that is how the legacy of the gallery continues. Through you, Nico, the lessons will never fade. As Nico left the chamber, he felt a sense of peace and purpose. The shadows pulsed gently along the walls, approving his resolve. The gallery was safe, its secrets preserved, and its lessons ready to guide anyone who approached with respect and curiosity. He paused once more, looking back at the softly glowing murals. Somewhere deep in the gallery, the shadows shimmered, waiting for the next visitor to begin their journey. And Nico knew, with a quiet certainty, that the gallery, the shadows, and the lessons of humanity would live on through him. The Grand Art Gallery stood as a beacon, a place where courage, kindness, and curiosity were remembered and celebrated. And with Nico as its apprentice, its legacy was secure, ready to inspire generations to come.